Hi guys, FPL Posty here, just uploading another video onto my YouTube channel. Just another one of me thinking out loud, reviewing game week 29 and looking forward to game week 30 and making my first transfer. So without further ado, let's look over what happened over game week 29. Now obviously this was the biggest double game week of the season. Unfortunately, unlike everyone else, I did not have a bench boost to use because stupidly, I used it back in game week 9. Although I say stupidly, I did actually get 15 points from it way back in game week 9. So I have got some return from it. I just wish, and I do this every season, I wish I had a little bit more patience and saved it for the business end of the season. However, I managed to keep my head up above water. I wanted to at least make sure that I got a 3-digit haul. I think if it is a double game week, especially one as big as the one we've just had in 29, you've got to make sure you get at least a 3-digit points return, which I did. Most of my mini league rivals picked up like 130, 140, something like that scores. Luckily, I had a bit of a lead on them anyway. So I think I'm only behind my mini league rivals by about 3 or 4 points. So it's not too bad. Plus, now that they've all used their bench boost, we're all on a level playing field now from now until the end of the season. I think most of us have got our free hit cards still, which obviously most people, including myself, are planning on using on game week 32 to cover all the blanks. But yeah, 116 points wasn't bad. Obviously, Raya played in goal because Ward has lost his place at Leicester. Didn't keep a clean sheet in either fixture, which I pretty much thought they wouldn't do anyway, but managed to get 8 points. Raya's all about the save points, getting bonus save points. He keeps the odd clean sheet. It wouldn't surprise me if in the summer he moves to a bigger club than Brentford, to be honest with you. I think he is quite a well-respected goalkeeper within the Premier League. But for this week, 8 points. Trippier did Trippier things, getting 14 points. I don't think he got bonus points on the last game, but he did on the home game against Manchester United. He is just the best defender in FPL at the moment. You know, I think Trent's had his day. Maybe Alexander-Arnold will be back again next season. But for the time being, the first defender name that you need on your team sheet is Kieran Trippier. Chilwell had a fairly quiet week. No assists or anything like that. Obviously, there's been a managerial change at Stamford Bridge. I know that Lampard is a big fan of Ben Chilwell, so I don't see him losing his place on that left wing-back side. 9 points for him. Tyrone Mings is slowly becoming a little bit of a hero for me. Brought him in a few weeks ago and he's returned so many points. He's not massively owned as well, Tyrone Mings. So although he's not holding much goal or assist threat, he is solid at the back for Villa. He's one of the first names on the team sheet, and under Unai Emery, Villa have completely turned their season round. I mean, Steven Gerrard's just a thing of the past now. They're almost knocking on the door for European places, so I'm definitely sticking with him, especially as Villa have some great fixtures coming up. In midfield, Maddison was disappointing. Those that went with a captaincy punt on Maddison must feel a little bit disappointed this week. Four points from 2 games. Basically just sums up Leicester's season. Obviously, they've lost their manager as well. I'm not sure who's going to come in at the King Power Stadium. I think Graham Potter is probably the best choice, but I think apparently he's turned around and said that he wants a little bit of time off, a bit of a break from football, which you can understand after being under the microscope so much at Chelsea. So who's going to come in at Leicester? I have no idea. But Maddison at the moment, he's still in my team. Obviously, they've got Bournemouth at home this week. They've got to win that. That is a must-win at the King Power. So Rashford was my captain. He was most people's captaincy choice, to be fair. He was a pretty safe pick. Didn't get anything in the first game, but obviously in the second game got the only goal against Brentford. Matoma, again, does Matoma things. He is my superstar of the season, if I'm being honest with you. A brilliant price, around 5 million, playing in a very attacking Brighton team. He's always in and around the box. And if you look on the stats, a lot of people say that the choice between Matoma, March and McAllister is a very tight one. If you look at Matoma's stats, he's by far and away the Brighton player that has the most touches in and around the opposing box. So for me personally, I think he just edges it over McAllister and March. So he's definitely staying in my team for the time being. Fernandez, a little bit disappointed with his 4 points return. A little bit like Maddison, really. I'd expect at least an assist from him. I very nearly captained him at one point because obviously Rashford was flagged. But I went with vice captain. So I'm pretty pleased, obviously that he played both games. But a 4-point return from 2 games for Manchester United is not great, if I'm being honest with you. I heard a rumour about half an hour before the deadline that Saka was going to be benched, and it was from a really, really good source. And I kind of flapped and panicked a little bit because if I had have moved him out, obviously I knew that Haaland wasn't going to play, so he wasn't an option. So I kind of stuck with him in my team in the hope that he got subbed on and got something. Well, he got subbed on, but he just went through the motions a little bit. So a point from Saka is also a little bit disappointing. Perhaps I should have acted on the information that I got and moved him out my team, but I love the boy. I think he's brilliant. He's a bit like Salah, really. Even if Salah starts on the bench, he's going to come on at some point. And just like Salah, obviously being on penalties as well, he always has the opportunity, even if he's brought on for the last half hour, 25 minutes, that he might get a return of some sort. And up front, Tony and especially Watkins, they are like proper slow burners this season. They just grind along each week, getting goals for Villa and Brentford. They're like a pound shot version of Haaland and Kane, aren't they, really? They're always reliable, but obviously very cheaper. Watkins is having a stellar end to the season. He's going on a brilliant run at the moment, getting goals. And obviously, while Coutinho is still out injured, he is Villa's penalty taker. Don't need to talk about the bench because, like I say, I didn't have a bench boost. So 116 points from my double game week. Not bad. Obviously not as big as some scores that have been knocking around this week, but I've got to be happy with that. So let's take a look at how that's affected my overall rank. Well, I started off the game week at 27k. After the first round of games on Saturday, bizarrely, I actually went up. I got a green arrow and went up to 25k, which left me scratching my head a little bit, considering I didn't have a bench boost. But after all said and done, dropped down to 34k. I'm perfectly happy with that. I honestly braced myself, having not owned a bench boost, to drop down to something like 50k this week. So to still be in and around the mix for the top 10k is fine by me, especially as I've got such a solid plan in place from now until game week 34 and then on to the end of the season. So I'm quietly confident I can get back to 25k. My target, if I can stick around the 25k level, is a top 10k finish, which would be incredible for this season. But hey, top 100k was my original target, and I'm well in with that at the moment. So I'm very, very happy. Regarding my mini leagues, obviously I was top of all of them. Not only the bench boosters, knocked me down to second in most of them. I'm still top in the Champions League. So yeah, hopefully I can regain that as well. So let's go on to game week 30. Go on to pick your team. So game week 30 is a pretty boring week, to be honest with you. It's been a while since we've had just a normal average game week like this. It's either been a blank or a double. I was already very happy with my team going into this game week. I know there's going to be some managers out there that have proper bossed a big double game week 29 score, but are now looking at the team thinking, oh God, I've got so many bad fixtures. But I'm really happy with this. I am going to make a transfer, which I'll go through in a minute. But at the moment, I'm sticking with 3-4-3. Haaland I've brought into the team because he's been pictured 2 days in a row now on the grass at Manchester City's training facility, and he's not exactly been taking it easy either. He was pictured throwing himself around, getting on the end of KDB passes and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that he plays against Southampton. He is my captaincy choice at the moment. I know after the Liverpool game, Pep Guardiola was singing Alvarez's praises, and why not? He had a brilliant game against Liverpool, but I do think that Haaland is the preferred man up front. I mean, his goal tally speaks for himself this season, and you want to keep the big Norwegian lad happy as well. So I'm hoping that he will start against Southampton, and I think as a captaincy choice, and as him being flagged, I think it's a bit of a differential. I know a lot of people will still go with Haaland because he is a lot of people's perma-captain, but obviously Man United have a very attractive fixture at home against Everton, so people may well stick with Marcus Rashford. So I've got him as my vice-captain. Up front as well, Watkins and Tony both have home fixtures. Obviously, Watkins is the better of the two, with Newcastle having a really, really steady defence. But if anyone can score for Brentford, it's Ivan Toney. Obviously, he swerved yellow cards in his 2 games last week. So a lot of people transferred him out with the fear that he would pick up a booking and miss some of them games. But at the moment, he's swerving them yellow cards, so he's staying in my team. So he's always capable of getting a goal at home for Brentford. As I said, Leicester's game is a must win. And I think with Jamie Vardy now starting up front again, hopefully he'll wind back the years and get on the end of a couple of Maddison through balls. Man United's fixture, as I mentioned, is really good. Everton are actually 4 games unbeaten now under Sean Dyche, which is a bit of a statistic that's gone under the radar a little bit. But Old Trafford is a really tough place to go at the moment. Eric Ten Hag has turned Old Trafford into a bit of a fortress, a bit like the Ferguson era now. So I'm hopeful that Rashford and Fernandes will get something. Saka's in my team now. It's a big 50-50 between Saka and Mitoma. Both are brilliant players that I admire a lot. For me, Saka's got the nod. I think he's got the more difficult of the 2 fixtures because although Liverpool are having a bad season, Anfield is a really tough place to go and get a result. It always is. But he's on penalties. Mitoma isn't. So that's one that's basically a bit of a flip of a coin decision, to be honest with you, because although Saka's on penalties, Mitoma, as I mentioned earlier, is buzzing around opponents' boxes and causing himself a nuisance. So it's a 50-50 one, but Saka's got the nod just because he's on penalties. At the back, I've got Trippier and Chilwell that basically, they're just nailed on, aren't they? Both got away games. Brentford and Wolves. Brentford, obviously, the tougher of the 2 for Trippier, but he's on free kicks and he's an absolute bonus point monster. I'm hopeful that there'll be a bit of a Chelsea resurgence now that Frank Lampard's been in charge of Chelsea. And I'm pretty sure he'll stick with Chilwell. I know they've got Real Madrid coming up midweek. There were some people saying that he might rest a couple of first-choice players, including Ben Chilwell, for that game against Madrid in the week. But I personally think he will want to start off with a big statement victory against Wolves at Molineux. And Wolves, let's face it, they don't score many and they don't concede many. So it's there for Chelsea to take, I think, that Wolves away game. And obviously Mings, although has very few attacking returns potential in him, Nottingham Forest at home is a really decent fixture. So I'm hopeful of a clean sheet there. Now, regarding Raya, he at the moment might well be my transfer this week. I very nearly pulled the trigger last night to do the transfer, but there wasn't really much chance of his price going down and the player I want to bring in's price going up. So I've left it another 24 hours. I would probably like to leave it right up until deadline on Saturday morning